Good evening, everybody. Nice summer evening. Whoops, I gotta. There we go. All right. June 6th, D-Day, 78 years ago. Bad thing is, you wonder how many school kids know what D-Day is anymore. Okay, we saw that this level was acting as resistance today. So early in the day, the markets were trading up, but they just couldn't get through this level. And so when it gets up there, that's where you watch to see what the 10-minute chart is telling you. And they started selling it off, which then becomes relatively evident that they aren't going up through, that we're still at least in a sideways mode. No chart. Raymond, are you on? Screen sharing, the second tab up at the very top of your screen. All right, you may have to log off and log right back on and see if you can get a chart. Okay, we also saw the same thing in the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ actually opened right up at the 34 EMA, waffled around, and then started selling off. So what should our analysis be? We're in the overbought area, and we're seeing every time they open it, except for that day, they're taking it lower. That does not portray bullish strength. So you can pretty much be assured that 95% of the world looked at the chart or looked at the NASDAQ and say, oh, it's up 48 today. That's a bullish day. But we can see it was actually a bearish day. Nancy, are you able to, are you on, yeah, go up to the red X, close out, and come back in and see if that works. I don't know why everybody wouldn't be getting charts. You did that already. Well. So is Nancy and Raymond the only people that aren't getting charts? What's up now? All right. Okay. Okay, so we're not seeing a very strong uptrend, and we're starting to run out of steam on our stochastics. So simple logic from here. If the indexes trade back up above this level, what do we got? We can pretty much assume we got a J-hook pattern taking us higher. If they open lower and start trading lower, we've got a wave 1, wave 2. The downtrend may be continuing. So this is why it's a lot more effective to see what's happening in the based upon the candlestick charts, and it looks like after hours, they're still seeing a little bit of sell-off in the indexes. This is the Dow futures. Crude oil still holding up well. I say holding up well. It's closed at the 118.52 level. Oops, I didn't have it far enough. Did they just open up? So anyways, crude oil in an uptrend. I haven't even looked at some of the other. Soybeans flat. Wheat trying to bottom out. Oh. Rid of that. In this illustration of had this big price move and then it went flat. Notice where it failed the second time, right there. And how did it fail? With your hanging man in the overbought area, trading lower the next day. All right, I haven't even looked at lean hogs. That's in a downtrend, and live cattle. Nothing. Gold. Take a look at this gold. ECAM. Gold pretty much flat, not going anywhere. So not doing too much in the commodity area. All right. Today, lithium came back nicely. And just to illustrate, I've got the 34 EMA on my charts. A lot of people say, why the 34 EMA? Because it seems to work fairly well, as you can see in this situation. Same scenario over here. 34 seems to work fairly well. So this goes back to just a basic chart concept. But if you put something on your chart and it works, keep it there. If it doesn't seem to work very well, take it back off. Because what do I keep reiterating is the most important factor on a chart? The signal itself. Everything else is just kind of a confirming indicator. So look what happened on RPTX, a kicker signal. What was our expectation off the kicker signal? More upside. Neon, a kicker signal. Strong price move. Now look what's happening. Wave 1 off the kicker signal. Best friend signal, wave 3. So what did this all infer right here? There's a new strong dynamic. Now you start utilizing your other chart patterns. MQ. There's your bobble breakout. So anybody fairly new in here, here is a very compelling reason why you use the T-line. It acts like a natural support and resistance level of human nature. So look what this pattern is on IMTE. Obvious fry pan bottom. Then what do we expect, or what can we anticipate after a fry pan bottom move? Maybe that classic pattern, a J-hook pattern. But look where this one came to, right back to the 50 and the T-line. So a lot of people in the chat room were saying, should we close this one out when it was trading down here? And the answer is, it's already trading down here. But it hasn't closed down here. We assume we're in a pattern. So what's the worst case scenario? It stays down here. So at the end of the day, you can close it out. But look what it not normally does, but what it could do with a high degree of probability. The profit taking's over and they take it right back up. Now, what's your next criteria? If they open this positive, you've got a wave 3 now, starting with a bounce off the 50 and the T-line area, doing a doji sandwich. Where do you think it's likely to go? This could go from 11 back up to 35, that area. So can it do that? Who knows? But at least if we can recognize the patterns and know what the probabilities are on a positive open, creating a doji sandwich, we're in something that tells us we've got some big upside area. If it does open lower and starts trading lower, what do you anticipate? An evening star signal, they're bringing it back to test this area, close it out. Then when would you buy it back? When it comes back up through this level. Mullen, you can see the J-hookish type pattern. So what did this tell us right here? There's a drastic new change of investor sentiment. What did this tell us here? They aren't closing below the T-line. What pattern do we recognize? A J-hook pattern. So what now can we anticipate? Well, if they open it up strong, we still have a J-hook pattern. If they open it up weak, yeah, we might be in a slow uptrend like this as long as it stays above the T-line. NFE, you can see the fry pan bottom type pattern. You can see where the breakout was, or you could make the breakout right in here. So what does this imply? They could never close it back below the T-line, kind of a J-hook pattern through the breakout area. Staying long on this one. Now you do have a hanging man. So what's our anticipation, or what should we expect? Expect it to open and at least trade in this trajectory. If it opened and started trading lower, well, there's a hanging man telling there's some profit taking started. Whoops. Oh, that's light speed. Light speed, bobble breakout, support at the 50, steady uptrend. What's the trading criteria in this one? You just stay long as it stays above the T-line. GPRE, you bobble breakout, you just stay long as it stays above the T-line. The oil stocks worked well. Valero still moving up nicely. This one's worked out very well. BPT. But now what do we anticipate? Or what should we anticipate? Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3. What's this starting to tell us? We're starting to see some exuberance up here in the overbought condition. So what's our trading strategy? We're getting a little bit more attentive, watching for a reversal signal. Based upon you're in the overbought area, you've got a strong wave 3, you've moved away from the T-line, start watching for profit taking. And we recommended this one today, which didn't execute. Whoops, make it bigger. But notice what it did do. After trading off most of the day, it came back up and closed at the top of the range at the end of the day. So 2 plus 2. What do we got going on here? Well, you can see the Morningstar signal, which starts wave 3 because there's wave 1. There's wave 2 that pretty much supported at the T-line. There's wave 3 starting. So what's our trade expectation? If this opens positive doing a doji sandwich, what's it telling us? Wave 3 is probably in progress, a high probability entry area. All right, the biggies kept looking at Amazon today and saying, what the heck? It's way up, and it's showing it's only up $1.70 or $2. And I realized this was after the stock split. So, but notice what we're seeing up here. We're in the overbought area. So no matter which way you want to take a look at it, if you start seeing indecisive signals, that's telling you start looking for possible reversal. Or the other way to look at it is if you're up in the overbought area and you're starting to see indecision, that's just kind of mentally prepares you to start getting ready to take profits or get ready to go short if things turn around. Same scenario over here. Now this was one of what I call a bad hair day because you could see what happened on Friday. There was that kicker type signal back below the T-line. And today this one was trading up $3. We bought puts on it. And they were really killing us. But when it was trading up here, the Dow was trading up here, right at this level. So this is where, on a bad hair day, say, all right, if they're going through, I need to cover. Probably that means Apple's going to be trading higher. Or if they resist at that level, watch to see what the 10-minute chart is telling us. This was bad, this was bad, this was bad. And then, boom, they started bringing it back down. So why would you hold on to something like that? Because what was the information we got on Friday? They were selling this off hard, so there's sellers were starting to take control, wanted to see what it was going to do by the end of the day. And as you can see, it closed below where it opened and below the T-line. NVIDIA, not going anywhere. Netflix, not really going anywhere either. And Tesla. This was, if you'd shorted this one on Friday, because of the kicker signal, this was bad. It opened positive. But this is the nice thing about the graphics of candlesticks. They opened it up and then started drifting it lower. And as soon as that candle turned red, what's it kind of telling us? Well, you know, they aren't buying, they're selling. Let's see what happens here. Because there was a strong selling force on Friday. Even though they tried to take it back up today, the sellers were still involved. So I would still be short Tesla as long as it stays below the T-line. That's not what I wanted. There's a symbol of oil. I forget. Let's see if I can find some others. Rig. another oil stock that's starting back up. Apache wasn't as strong, but you can see which direction it's heading. They backed it off and took it back up. Occidental was weak most of the day, but it stayed up above the T-line, and I think ExxonMobil also held up. So the oils are still working better. Yes, and on BPT, I would probably put a safety stop at the halfway point of this candle. Because if they open it and start trading it down, that's the profit taking. If they open it and start trading it higher, then you move your safety stop up to the open. So somebody pointed this one out today. There's your classic pattern. And observe the obvious. Look what they did right here at the 50-day moving average and the T-line. Kind of a little hammer, kind of your double doji setup. Where would you expect your next target could be? Up here. That's a decent percent. And on Squirm, there's another one. I wouldn't have bought it today because it didn't show a lot of strength. But what pattern can you see developing here? Let me go back to BP. So I would still be a buyer of this if they started trading back up above today's open. That would kind of further confirm the, you could use the 3T line. Hold on for 1 second. Sorry, that was Nurse Cratchit. We have to have all the doors shut because Sandy Oakley couldn't get rid of all the raccoons with the BB gun. And the roof people said the raccoons were tearing up the roof, which I can't understand. They don't like asphalt. And so she decided she was getting rid of all the raccoons. So she's hired a raccoon trapper to put all the traps around. So we have to keep the cat inside because they use cat food for the trap bait. And I don't know what she's thinking. She won't tell me how much it cost. One estimate was $400 per raccoon. Said $400 a raccoon. I'd rather just buy a new roof. So anyways, CLR, there's your J-hook pattern also. Wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. QFIN, there's your kicker type J-hook pattern. There's your expected target. That's right. Yeah, we've got one of those little metal poles about 6-7 feet high with the green feeder on the top where there's a little bar the birds sit on and they can feed. And every day that raccoon gets up there and hangs on the bar, just hangs off the feeder. Gary, who's asking? Rob, very rarely do you see it intraday, just because unless something has happened during the day where there was an announcement or something happening, it's more apt to be from one close to the next open. That's probably true. I don't know where they were going to take these raccoons, but we've got a big enough woods up on my hillside here that I'm sure if they capture 6 or 8 raccoons, that within a day or two, we'll have another 6 or 8 raccoons moving down. Yeah, I was supposed to put Vaseline on the pole. I don't know. I haven't even asked that question, Don. Yeah, we got, BG, we've gotten past being annoyed with, I just know that we're going to shell out a big chunk of money every month for birdseed. That's right. You can take them over to the neighbors, Cassie, and then charge them to bring them back. Okay, so neon is another J-hook pattern setting up nicely. GOGL. Be ready to buy this, especially if it comes up through this level. I don't know if there's I'm sure if we had a dog, except I know who would have to get up at 2 in the morning to take the dog out, so we don't have a dog. The cat is bad enough. Speaking of the devil, here she comes. So AREN, kicker type signal. ASPN, kicker type signal, coming out of a fry pan bottom. And CGNT, whoops, a kicker type signal, setting up a J-hook pattern. So the reason I'm pointing these out is you might not want to try to learn every signal or pattern. But if you just learn a few, with the kicker being one of them, again, we kind of know what to expect when there's a dramatic change of investor sentiment based upon a kicker signal, or the best friend kicker type signal where they gap it up. Darn, which one was it? Oh, RPTX. When they gap it up on a kicker type signal, it usually implies there's a lot more upside to expect. What? Now I got the cat meowing because she can't go out. I know, things are tough all over. Another kicker signal on TAL. So a kicker signal is easy to identify. You just do your scans looking for the biggest percent moves of a stock. And you're going to find the kicker signals. Here's a slow curve breakout on Merck. MERC. Here's a J-hook pattern on CMC. Very strong chart setup. So there's lots of good bullish patterns, even though So when we're looking at a market condition where we don't know whether it's going up or down, we still have the advantage of at least being able to identify out of the 9,500 trading entities which ones have the strong bullish charts and which ones have the strong bearish charts. Tigger, you can see the best friend signal kind of coming out of this double bottom, fry pan bottom, resistance level. That also implies there's going to be more upside. There's your fry pan bottom on Futu. And look where the gap up, what do we expect for a breakout of a fry pan bottom? A strong price move. And look what our strong price move was. Kind of your trend kicker signal. And where did it occur? Right here. It's about where the fry pan bottom started. And I think there's go-go. There's your classic pattern. Where would you want to buy this one? Right there. If it came up through the high, through this level, that would tell us wave 3 is probably bringing you back up into this area. Bob, yes, there is a, we did do a product where all you had to do is download the product. You might want to email Abraham at candlestickforum.com. All you do is pay for it. I don't know whether we sell it or whether Thinkorswim sells it. But all you do is you download it, and it automatically goes into the scanning of Thinkorswim. I did that wrong, or did I? Oh, this one was the illustration of when you see a bunch of dojis like this, look for it to head for the next target. I don't know why. Oh, because this has a trend kicker signal. Right about there. What's that imply? There's still more upside to this one. Anytime you see that trend kicker signal, it means there's still lots of energy. Oh, let's see. I can't even read my own handwriting here. There's your fry pan bottom. And where did it break out? With a little trend kicker right here at the 50. Wouldn't be afraid to be buying that one. Okay. Oh, forgot some of these up here. Still some good-looking charts. FTCI, J-hook pattern, best friend gap up, wave 1, wave 3 is likely to bring you right back up here to the 200. CGEM, fry pan bottom, buy this one on positive trading. Fry pan bottom on KYMR. And why would this be intriguing to come up here and fill this gap? That would be a 100% move. Well, it would have been a bearish Harami had it confirmed. Now what's it turned into? A trend kicker signal. I know. Oh, kitty. No. So where did this one break out? pretty much right through this level. You ready to buy this? I don't know what that line is up there. Again, from observe the obvious. Whoops. There's your breakout level. Doesn't a trend kicker signal need to be gapped and pronounced size? It doesn't, well, not necessarily. Now I forget which one we were looking at. Oh, on COM. What did this one tell you when it traded positive and still had a bullish candle? They gapped it up and did a trend kicker signal. Do you need to go after it right away? Not necessarily. Wait and see what it does tomorrow if it opens positive. All right, so the nice thing we can see is when a trade setup is in progress, look where this one failed. Right there. Pretty much at the resistance level, at the 34, and then it came up, failed at the 34. Let's make this bigger. When it opened lower, what did it tell us? They were failing here, and they were failing at the T-line. So do you always get into moves like this? Well, if I shorted this one today, I was hoping for a move like that, which would still have been substantial. Cat, you are just driving me to drink. You might find yourself in a trap. Another rollover. Wave 1, Wave 2, and look how Wave 3 started. This is TCMD. Look at your bearish best friend that failed this level. Got lines all over the place here. Failed this level. What's that imply? Wave 1, Wave 2, going into Wave 3 with great enthusiasm. Same scenario here on Q2. Where did it fail? Obviously right at the 50. How did it fail? There's your bearish doji Harami. Gap down. Make this smaller. Where do you think the next target is? Right down in this range. Things are slowing down here because this darn cat is sitting right on the edge of my keyboard. Oh. This one, you can see it's rolling over. Where do you think the next first target is? Right down here. That's right. Served well as a kitty carrier. And frog. There's your bullish Harami confirmed. Sitting right here at this edge, which means if this opens lower, what can we assume? Wave 1, Wave 2, going into Wave 3. So this is where you can kind of extrapolate and find your high probability trade setups and kind of figure what the magnitude of the move will be on the next move. Bob, I can honestly say no, never. But if she happened to hit a key, it was probably a losing trade. All right, so it looks like the Dow, remember, this doesn't mean a hill of beans tonight. Right now, the Dow's trading down 92. So the suspicion should be, not the suspicion, but everybody's saying now we're not heading into a we aren't heading for a recession. The problem with that analysis is the market's telling us we're probably heading for a recession. So we don't have to listen to each individual. Julia, we have had so many raccoons out on our back deck, and they just poop all over the place. So we got smart, and we went and bought a bottle of coyote urine and spread it all over the deck to keep them away. And the next morning went out, and they pooped all over the coyote urine. So they weren't that upset. All right. Other than how to get rid of cats, is there any general questions on candlesticks? Yeah, we have bird feeders out on the back deck that are hung up. I got it so where I could hang up the bird feeders, and then they would swing out away from the railing over the back lawn. But you go out and at night, and you see them hanging up there, just swinging back and forth, eating bird seed. You say that the latest signal negates the previous signal. Does the latest signal also negate a pattern? Not necessarily. Something like this had this closed down here, that would probably have negated the uptrend right away, but it didn't negate the pattern. So you'd wait to see what the next pattern was had it closed down here, meaning it still would have to close below the T line to negate the pattern. That's for sure, Andrew. Do you have a risk-reward goal on stock trading? Most of these symbols are showing tonight look like they would give you a 10 to 30% return if it reached wave 3. Yes, I want to. If I'm looking at a stock position, I know that there are tons of good charts, but a lot of those good charts may only give you a 7, 8, 10, say a 4, 6, 8% upside potential. I'm looking for the ones that give me at least a minimum of 10% upside. Now, does that mean it's going to give me a 10% upside? No, but I want the ones that have at least the potential of doing that, because if I'm looking at two good charts and one has a potential of 8% and the other one has a potential of 30%, obviously I'm going to go with the 30%. Julia, yeah, that's yes, on VNTR, you watched it today, it didn't execute. But here's your assessment. This looks like wave 3, which should have at least the same magnitude as wave 1, which means if this opens positive, we're anticipating this type of move, and if it opens positive, we're anticipating a doji sandwich, so you want to buy this one on positive trading. On the NASDAQ, yeah, it didn't quite do a doji, but it did do, if this is what you were referring to, but look where it opened yesterday. Look where it closed. Pretty much at the low end of that trading range. Anytime you see that, that's telling you the bears aren't, or the bulls aren't there with great enthusiasm. So that's, and especially up here in the overbought area. So you think, all right, they opened up positive. Are they really whipsawing this? Or should we wait to see whether that bearish indicator or on Friday is still working? And as you can see, later in the day, it pretty much told us they weren't breaking out of this this area. Yeah, I'll have to find out. Yeah, they have kind of on a pole. They've got kind of like a what do I say, a funnel type thing that fits around the pole so the squirrel can't get up. And then my brother-in-law has something on his pole where it slides up and down, so if the squirrels get on it, they can't get up the pole. I'll have to check into it more. Rob, obviously it's a risk-reward factor. I'm looking for things that can make big upside potential moves, or they fizzle out. Now, there are some, and this is why I tell people kind of narrow in on patterns that you recognize and you know exactly what to do and when to do it. For example, as soon as I saw this trade, I can't remember whether I started buying calls on this day or on this day, because what do we expect coming out of a kicker signal? That strong price move. Kind of this move in here. And that's why we want to know the patterns. J-hook pattern. We can expect upside. So this might not have a 20 or 30% move. This may only be a 10% move, but that 10% move with a high degree of probability also makes for good option trading setups. Do you use volume to help with the chart interpretation? For example, the NASDAQ or the Dow? No. No, we're not trading volume. We're trading price. Now, if, I don't have volume on here, if on, let's say, a day like this or a day like this, there's huge volume, you can pretty much anticipate that there's probably been a major change of investor sentiment. So I don't use volume as a criteria for getting into a position. The signal is still that criteria, but then a big volume spike at that reversal is just a little bit more confirmation that there has been a change of ownership. Alan, yes, that's what we have, is where the railing that the birds sit on. If it gets too heavy, it closes it. 5%, Ronald, 5% what? But for some reason, the darn squirrel, and the darn squirrel is only my chair that I sit in next to the window so I can be watching TV and looking out the window. So the bird feeder is probably about 8 feet outside the window. So when he gets up there, I tap on the window and he just looks at me saying, "Hey, I'm eating. Why are you bothering me?" Killer raccoons, yep. That probably is up there with the Killer Tomatoes movie. Okay, I guess with that, Jim, let's go ahead and do the double line. And in 4.2 seconds, let's do the next double line. Oops, still going. Microsoft. Oops, let's get rid of this. That's kind of a dead chart right now. I wouldn't be long or short Microsoft. No direction. Stay long on Norfolk. Won't be very exciting, but it's heading, as long as it's above the T line, you stay short. BLKB, yes, you could go short on this one with the expectation that they broke through the 50. Now you got a sell signal. Now they'll come back to test the 50 to see if it's going to act as support. EH, stay long. Now you want to see it get through the 50. Bah. A fry pan bottom on this one. You could be buying this one. Nice. That's a good chart. ABYA. If you're long, you use your safety stop at the T line. You got a doji, which means if they open this lower, they're coming back to test the T line, which means this trajectory is gone, maybe going to be very slow uptrend at that point. TRV Travelers, nothing wild on this one. Yeah, nothing there. I'd be someplace else. MMI, nothing there. If you're short, stay short, but it definitely needs to get down through this area to stay short. Mullen, you stay long as this one stays above the T line. That kicker signal told us there was new activity coming in. Same thing over here when they spiked it up, pulled it back, and then started up pretty strong. And then I thought somebody said they are now being added to one of the indexes. That should help them out a little bit. That's got kind of a trend kicker signal on IQ. Look for your 200 being the next target. Charge point. J-hook pattern, stay long, have your safety stop below the 50. Polar, that's a nice J-hook pattern. Look for the 200. NIO, stay long. AMGN, stay short. Big bearish engulfing after your hammer, hanging man, your hanging man, and look where it reversed, right smack dab at the same level you had sell signals before. This one backed off, HUSA, so it has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, they're coming back to test the T-line, which means you got to wait for the next buy signal. Close it out and wait for the next buy signal. Emerging markets, you can, whoops, can't see what color that is. That's a bearish candle at the 50. If you were long and it closed here today, I would have closed it out. Now I wouldn't be long or short. If you stayed long, it has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow. CWeb, the China bull, just stay long on this one. Neg. See what may move this one today. See if that news warrants holding it some more. Tesla, stay short. Ever since that kicker signal to the downside on Friday. Blink, I don't think Blink did too much of anything. Nothing major there. I would probably be more apt to buy it once it gets up through that level. GoGo, this one you can buy on positive trading tomorrow. J-hook pattern. Oh, pshaw. You could buy this one, EHTH. Sava, if you've stayed long, it has to open positive. If it comes down through the T line, you close it out. It's coming back to test to see if the 50 is going to act as support. Oh. Rocket. $34 acted as resistance. The 50 is acting as resistance. If you're short, stay short. Ralph Lauren, notice how when it came up through the 50, it came back, used the 50 as support. Stay long, but I'd have a safety stop just below today's low. Blue, nothing wildly exciting. You got a doji sandwich. If you're long, your next watch is to make sure it gets up through this level. And Vivo, that one you stay long, or you could be going long on positive trading from here. Now, positive trading from here is also going to be a function of how the market's open tomorrow. Run, that's either your message or your fizzle. So you got to see, if I was long and I stayed long today, it has to open positive and trade positive. If it starts trading lower, especially up here in the overbought area, they're at least coming back to test the T-line area. So I'd close it out and wait to see what it does when it gets back there. Canadian Solar, stay long. I think all the solars acted well today. Oh, I think they were complaining. First Solar sold off. They were complaining that they weren't going to do too much about the Chinese subsidizing and dropping the prices down on solar panels, kind of driving the American solar panel companies out of business. So anyways, it's still in a political mix. PGR, you can buy on positive trading a J-hook pattern. AMAT, failing at the 50, you can short this one. It's not a great chart, but at least if it opens lower, they've failed right in this area at the 50. They're probably coming back down into this range. Yen, stay long as you're up above the T line. but now you watch to see how they open it. You're getting up toward the overbought area. They did break out through this area and the 50 over the last few days. Right now, you just stay long. I think we did PGR. Buy on positive trading. AERC. Find out what caused that price move. Look for a 45 degree off of here. And Beam, you could be buying this one on positive trading. A bear double doji flutter. Yeah, you've got to assume that it's in a downtrend with that kicker signal below the T-line. Today they took it up and closed it back below the T-line. Got to assume the bears are still in control. And we also went short what puts on HCP. It was working very nicely, but then they took it up positive. However, I think after hours, no, they took it down after, they dropped it. So it's down a wee little bit after hours, but not anything significant. So very simple strategy on this one. It has to open lower and trade lower to stay in it. If it opens positive, close out, because it's telling us they aren't taking it down. They're still in a junky sideways. Delta, stay short. United needs to open lower to stay short. Southwest, same thing. Otherwise, they're just in junky sideways. Good idea to continue to hold short. It has to open lower. If it opens positive, you're in this kind of junky trend channel. And NVIDIA, nothing. If you went long on this day, if this opens lower tomorrow, close it out because you're in a trendless situation. PDD, stay long, but watch for some profit taking. I'd probably use the T-line. The T-line's probably going to be up here tomorrow. I'd still use the T-line as a support. JD.com, stay long, but you definitely want to see this one open positive. And LAI, that's a good breakout. You could be going long on this one. Oh, up on tariff, on tariff reductions. Well, I thought that's the reason they were selling off was, tariff reductions. So Canadian solar obviously would benefit from that, but the U.S. companies would be hurt because that means they could bring the foreign solar panels in at a lower price. Bloom, you stay long, but you've hit some resistance at the 50. If I was long, I wouldn't want to see it trade below today's low. That would tell you they failed at the 50 right here. They're bringing it back. Schlumberger, yeah, you stay long on this one. Halliburton, stay long as it stays above the T-line. Chewy, you're still in a fry pan bottom, but it's not very intriguing. I did do MMI. If you're short, you stay short. You don't want to see it close back up above the T-line. Whoops, let's see. We did that. Do you short stocks or just buy puts options if you anticipate the stock will go down? That depends on what you're trading. If you're trading stocks, you're shorting the stocks. If you're trading options, you're doing the options. So it all depends on what account you're doing in or what you're trading. If I'm trading in my options account, obviously I'm buying puts. All right, so they got approval. That means there's probably likely to see more upside. DQ. Just stay long, but you're in the overbought area, you gapped up. Should be more upside, but you have your safety stop at today's open. That one's not coming up. Myrna, that's nothing. Would not be long or short. There's no direction. All right, it will be important to see how they open these markets tomorrow. Again, if they start taking the Dow and the NASDAQ back below the T-line, look for a wave one, wave two. The bearish sentiment still in control. Look for wave three, which means you want to definitely be looking more at your things, especially something like this that has a best friend, bearish best friend. That's usually a lot of force to the downside. All right, everybody. Oops, fairly early. We'll see everybody. All right, one more, JC. Then we'll hit the bars. Nothing. No direction. Be aware that they might be. The tricky part is must close below the T-line. Yes, but there's two factors for that, Will. If the market is heading up and something is trading back below the T-line, give it more time. But if the market's selling off hard and something's coming down below the T-line, kind of creating a sell signal, yeah, assume that they're selling. That's when you can close it out, even though it hasn't closed below the T-line. Oh, that could be on this. Yes, so you just see which sectors are acting the weakest. All right, everybody. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.